of this lesson, you should be able to ask for permission to do things. So as usual, before we begin our lesson, let me show you first the framework of our lesson today. First, we shall talk about a picture and read a gap dialogue. And after that, we will watch or listen to a video and complete the gap dialogue with phrases. Then, we will substitute again the key phrases that we have previously filled in the gap dialogue with other answers. Finally, we shall practice on requesting, giving and refusing permission using the key phrases that we have learned in the second activity. Without further ado, let us begin with the first activity of our lesson today, where we are going to talk and read about the picture and also the gap dialogue. Let's look at the first picture here. Now, we can see that it's a conversation between a little girl and her dad. This little girl is called Lottie. Based on the situation on this picture, what do you think is happening? Did you see something in Lottie's hand? What is that? It's a TV remote control. Now, let's try to relate the TV remote control to the topic of our lesson today. Today, we are going to learn about how to request, refuse, and also give permission. So obviously, Lottie is holding a TV remote control and she is asking permission from her dad to watch TV. Now, let's read the gap dialogue together first, because after this we are going to have a listening activity whereby you are going to fill up the gap dialogue with answers provided. But of course, first and foremost, we will need to read through first the gap dialogue so that later on you will know what is happening in the video or audio. Shall we read the gap dialogue together? Dad, yes. Is it okay if I blank? No, I'm afraid you can't. But Dad, why not? Blank, I'm sorry, but blank. Oh, okay. Can I blank then? Yes, of course you can. Great, thanks Dad. So looking at the incomplete sentences here, we will call that as phrases. And let's try to look deeper into the phrases that I have underlined. Is it okay if I? No, I'm afraid you can't. I'm sorry, but can I? Yes, of course you can. These are the key phrases that are very related to the topic of our lesson today. Now, did you see that the phrases that I have underlined in different colors? They are green, red, and also blue. What do the key phrases in green color show? It means these key phrases are used to request permission. Next, let's look at the key phrases in red color. No, I'm afraid you can't. I'm sorry, but... So obviously, these phrases are used to refuse permission. And last but not least, the key phrase in blue color, yes, of course you can, means it is a key phrase to give permission. So in general, request means minta, refuse means tidak membenarkan, and give means membenarkan. Now let's move on to the second activity of our lesson today, where you are going to listen to the video and then you will fill in the gap dialogue with the answers provided.
Dad?
Yes.
Is it okay if I watch that wildlife program on TV?
No, I'm afraid you can't.
But Dad, why not? It's really good.
I'm sorry, but it's time for dinner.
Oh, okay. Can I watch TV later then?
Yes, of course you can.
Great. Thanks, Dad.
So that's the end of the video. Now let's try to fill the gap dialogue together. The answers down there are provided for you. You can choose based on what you have listened just now. Alright? So let's do the gap dialogue together. Dad, yes. Is it okay if I? What should be the answer? If I watch that wildlife program on TV. So Lottie's dad did not allow her to do so, and he said, "No, I'm afraid you can't." Then Lottie starts to ask, "But Dad, why not?" It's really good. And what did Lottie's dad say? He said, "I'm sorry, but it's time for dinner." It means that Lottie was not allowed to watch that wildlife program because his dad said it's already time for them to eat dinner. And last but not least, "Oh, okay, can I watch TV later then?" And Lottie's dad gave permission and said, "Yes, of course you can." Did you manage to get the same answer? Now, imagine that Lottie is not asking permission to watch TV anymore, but is for other purposes. I also provided the choices of answer for you at the bottom here. You may think first and choose which is the correct answer that should be put in each gap here. So let's read through the dialogue again. Dad, yes. Is it okay if I? Which one should be the answer? I think you've got homework. Go to the cinema with Hannah. Go at the weekend. There's a really good film. So which one should be the answer? The answer is it okay if I go to the cinema with Hannah? And Dad says, "No, I'm afraid you can't." But Dad, why not? So there must be an answer to convince Lottie's dad based on the first exercise that we did just now. Obviously the answer is there's a really good film. Next, as usual, Lottie's dad refuses the permission by saying, "I'm sorry, but I think you've got homework. If you still have homework, how come you will have time to go for cinema with Hannah?" Correct? Then Lottie says, "Oh, okay. Can I go at the weekend then?" Yes, of course you can. So these are the answers in different situation. Did you manage to get the answer correct as well? Alright, now let's move to the final activity of our lesson today, where we are going to practice on how to request and refuse permission. Now this exercise actually is adapted from your textbook on page 38, but I changed the activity slightly a little bit, where you are going to match the answers to the correct key phrases that we have practiced earlier in activity 1 and 2. In this activity, we are going to match the phrases from A to F to the phrases from 1 to 3. Now let's look at key phrases number A, watch TV. It should be matched to which key phrases? 1, 2 or 3. Is it okay if I or we watch TV? This should be the answer. And B, it's late and you've got school tomorrow. So obviously these key phrases is actually refusing permission. Hence, the answer should go to number 3. I'm sorry, but it's late and you've got school tomorrow. Use the computer. This should be requesting permission, but maybe you can choose either 1 or 2. So for this time, I would go for 2. Can I, we, you use the computer? You're always on the computer. So obviously D is connected to refusing permission. It's number 3. I'm sorry, but you're always on the computer. When we have a reason to refuse the permission, then we should go for number 3. We start with I'm sorry, but then we state the reason. But if you don't want to give the reason and you are really firm to refuse the permission, then you should go for no, I'm afraid you can't. D, go to a friend's house. This should be asking permission. I choose can I go to a friend's house. You can also go for number 1. It's not wrong because both of these key phrases are used to request permission. Last but not least, F, you need to help with the housework now. So it's a reason that is used to refuse the permission. I'm sorry, but you need to help with the housework now. So these are the correct answers.